In this video, we will look at some of the ways in which we can control outbreaks of infectious diseases. Outbreak control is not a medical issue. It's a societal activity. It's not something that occurs only between a doctor and a patient. It's a collaborative achievement of a range of stakeholders, including public and private institutions, industries, political and governmental authorities. Together, these stakeholders form the fabric of public health, in which many actions can be taken to prevent infectious diseases from spreading. So, what are some of these actions? Firstly, we can tackle the source of the infection. Secondly, we can reduce, limit or stop transmission. And lastly, we can protect potential hosts. An infectious disease always starts with a source. This source can be either a human being, animal or environment. It is the origin from which an infectious disease can be transmitted to us. For most infectious diseases, we know exactly which microorganisms are responsible and what their source is. We know where these microorganisms live and multiply, how long they can survive, and what their weaknesses are. For example, we now know that Legionnaires disease, a pneumonia that was identified for the first time some 50 years ago, is caused by a bacterium that only grows in humid environments, with a temperature of around 20 to 50 degrees Celsius. Therefore, private actors such as plumbers should ensure that in warm water piping systems the temperature is maintained well over 50 degrees. By doing so, they eliminate the source of infection, preventing potential outbreaks. Now let's look at the second way in which outbreaks can be prevented, namely by reducing, limiting or stopping transmission. In general, this is what most hygienic precautions have in mind. Hands, for example, can play a major role in the direct and indirect transmission of dangerous microorganisms. By simply washing our hands, we remove these microorganisms, effectively breaking the chain of transmission. Now let's look at the third possibility, which is protecting susceptible hosts. One way to protect hosts is by vaccination. Vaccines are designed to stimulate our body's own immune system to protect us against infection or disease. It is a proven tool for controlling and eliminating many life-threatening infectious diseases. A complicating factor here is that over the last decades, some sections of the general public appear to be losing trust in science and technical developments such as vaccines. Some members of the public distrust or at least ignore the value of evidence-based tools, which are essential in the control and prevention of outbreaks. Given the important role of public participation in this process, this is quite worrying, as it increases the risk of outbreaks. Communication is therefore a vital component of outbreak management. Public health officials need to provide information to the general public, even to those who are not at immediate risk. They need to inform the public about the potential consequences to their health and about which preventive measures they can take to prevent disease. Communication is also essential in preventing anxiety. In the public's collective memory, outbreaks are frequently associated with death and disaster, and therefore anxiety is a common phenomenon, even in modern times. Anxiety, however, does not promote compliance with preventive measures. Risk communication has to find a delicate balance between comforting the anxious and motivating the relaxed. To communicate in such a manner that all sections of society are motivated to comply with the advised prevention measures is one of the biggest challenges of public health. It directly determines whether an outbreak is successfully managed or whether it continues to grow. It is therefore absolutely necessary that this challenge is met. Only then can we continue to reduce the risk of outbreaks.